How? How does he turn? I don't know. All I know is he does into something magnificent, something terrible. Legion, the world killer.
What's up, everybody? Greg and Ryan here for another breakdown of Legion. This is episode 10, chapter 18.
Yes, only one episode left in the season, so make sure you're subscribed. We're of course doing these Legion breakdowns as well as Westworld Season 2, and coming soon, Preacher breakdowns, and we're also going to cover some Luke Cage. I really enjoyed this episode. After a few episodes this season where like not much happened in the storyline, this one really got the ball rolling, and obviously we have one more left. So what was your initial reaction to the whole thing?
I take it the same way that I love like the Two Towers, Lord of the Rings. You love what's going on. You know it's not the final product yet.
Right.
They split this apart. I like where they're going. That's all I can say. I really like where they're going with this. I know it's not the complete episode yet.
Right.
It's split apart.
It leaves you wanting more.
Yes.
And thank God we have one more episode left. Now let's talk about that opening shot. We see what looks like a glimpse of the future. You see a small outhouse, and there's a fire there, and Lenny is pregnant on the middle of the bear skin with skeletons all around her.
Something's on her lip too. I can't tell if it's like a key, like a chain, or just something's like a scar or something. There's something on her lip. I couldn't figure out what the hell that was.
Does anyone else think it's weird that Lenny / Amy / David's adoptive sister is pregnant on the ground?
She's dead. Amy, that body, that's not her. All right, never mind.
Greg,
it's weird.
Okay,
it's
all
weird.
Right. Come on, it's weird.
And then the camera pans up, and after 17 chapters, we finally see, for the first time, Legion.
That was awesome. I love this. Obviously, a huge nod to the comic books. I mean, this is straight out of the books. His total look. The first time we've ever seen David look like Legion from Marvel.
I didn't think they were gonna do the hair. That's the only thing, because they've never done it, and they really try to stay away from most of their looks, their comic book looks for the most part, until recently, which I love Apocalypse. That's why I love Apocalypse, because they actually went with their comic book characters towards the end.
Right.
And I just hope they keep doing it. Just go for it. Go as comic booky as you want for the final episode. I don't care. Make Legion like the comics.
Now, if you thought this was fun, definitely go back and check out X-Men Legacy comic issues. Legion deals heavily with Legion and Professor X's death, and then kind of like what happens afterwards and him trying to save mutant kind, and also dealing with, you know, all these personalities that he's having to battle with and control. So check those out if you're interested in this look from Legion. Now, were you getting any serious Labyrinth vibes during this whole scene?
Bowie? Yes.
Stop. Wait. Look, Sarah. Look what I'm offering you. Your dreams.
Couple things we noticed in that room, that crystal ball, but right before it, you saw those X's in the background, into the X on the crystal ball.
Very X-Men-y.
And then you had future Sid inside of it. This lets us know this is the future that Sid was talking about.
Right, this is the David that she was warning old David about.
I never thought I'd see you again like this.
Am I dead in the future? Wait, am I dead?
It's complicated.
Now let's talk about the setting. An awesome shot of the desert. Sid walks out of the tent and sees a giant hole in the desert, in the ground, and there's like a pink rubber stopper, like almost like in a bathtub or a sink, that's just discarded to the side there. I mean, the set design in the show is just like incredible.
Absolutely, I love the look of it. I have no clue how this world works in the desert, where you get from one place to another, but I'm just gonna go along with it and just trust Noah Hawley here, and we'll see what happens in the next episode.
I mean, we have to trust him. I think it gave me, you know, serious vibes of like Alice in Wonderland meets comic books.
Yeah, the bunny.
Giant clog for a sink or a bathtub, and then let's talk about that bunny that just is sent up as bait for Sid to grab and protect.
Farouk truly is the devil. He used a damn bunny, a real bunny. Come on. Oh.
Here you go.
Okay, so we're back in that hallway that we saw at the end of the last episode with Melanie and Oliver. Now, Melanie has Sid, or we think it's Melanie. It's not exactly Melanie here.
Yeah, under the control of Farouk, obviously. And then we get this whole kind of turn that she is basically manipulating Sid and how she truly should feel about David. And Melanie, under the spell of Farouk, is basically making an argument about the power dynamics between men and women and kind of the injustices and abuses that she's suffered, and as well as Sid. So she kind of opens the curtain to what David's been doing behind Sid's back.
I'm digging all that. Jean Smart is an amazing actress, so
Yes.
I'm loving all this. I hope they can somehow bring parts of this character back for season 3, because I
Agreed.
don't know what's going to happen with her next season.
It's a shame it took this long for them to get Jean Smart back into this show, and finally, it's not really her; it's someone else controlling her at this point. So, I agree with you completely. I hope that they can get her back involved next season in her normal character.
Yeah, I hope it's not a full reconstruction where she's devastated for all the events that she's caused. I just let's keep moving now, and she's back to who she was at season 1.
You know, the praying mantis has the right idea. Fornicate, then eat their heads. I mean, really, what do we need men for?
Another important part about this whole thing is think back a couple episodes ago to the Allegory of the Cave, or Plato's Cave. Sid's literally in a cave, and the shadows against the wall that she's seeing are actually images through those portals, those pedestals of David, and he's doing some horrific things. But she doesn't really know the context in which he's performing them. She doesn't know why and when and where and what's really going on. She's kind of restrained by the truth of the reality.
Yeah, she's not getting the full story here. I can't imagine that it would be this easy to trap her.
And like you said, that's why I find it so hard to believe that Sid would be this gullible. Not only gullible, but she wouldn't kind of fall for the manipulation by Farouk so easily. I mean, there's got to be a reasoning why David, we would hope, is doing the things he's doing.
Yeah.
He's insane.
That was
what? The devil on his shoulder?
Another interesting idea here is the many faces of David, the many faces of Legion. You know, which is the true David? Is it the one that takes pleasure in torturing someone and using his powers to, destroy people? Or is it the one that's super loving and the good boyfriend of Sid? Who's really David?
That's not David, the one we saw with this super grinning monster. This is through Farouk's lens here. We're not getting the full story. That's not David.
It's a distorted view of
course it
David.
is. Yeah. Next up, David comes across Oliver in the monastery, just finds him there, which immediately I thought, oh, this has got to be a trap.
Yeah,
of some
me too.
kind.
Yeah.
But is Farouk really gone from Oliver, though?
Yeah, Oliver says that, it's not Farouk anymore, but it's hard to just take someone at face value at this point. Regardless if it's Oliver or if it's Farouk inside Oliver, David does not believe him at all.
Nope. Delusion.
I am done listening to you. Just tell me what you did with Sid, and I promise I'll kill you quick.
You're not making any sense. How can you kill me? I'm part of you.
Now, I took that line as Oliver / Farouk telling him, yeah, I'm a part of you. This is how it's been since season 1. I'm still there somehow with you. I may be plucked out a little bit, but I'm still a part of you no matter what.
That makes a lot of sense. And another way you could look at this, though, is that maybe Farouk is no longer inside Oliver, and that's just Oliver. And he's saying that he is a part of David. He is literally one of David's personalities. That's a whole other thing to get into, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But a very interesting idea.
And then David takes Oliver to the astral plane for a little torture.
Did this remind you of anything? It is clear at this point that David is obsessed with getting revenge to the point that he's gone mad with rage. He won't even consider, any other types of diplomatic outcomes of talking to Oliver and really figuring out what's going on.
I think this has to do with time. He only has so much time left. He's like in the 4th quarter right now.
Right.
And there's only minutes remaining here. He's got to stop Farouk from getting to that body. So, torture?
So in an ideal world, maybe he wouldn't resort to this violence.
Yeah.
But because it's literally the end of the game and he needs to figure this stuff out, he's resorted to, torturing somebody and taking pleasure in it.
And what did you think about Lenny in this episode?
I thought it was awesome to see Lenny in this role. You know, normally we're stuck with Lenny, you know, inside a clockworks, inside a cell, locked up in the swimming pool. Like, doesn't really get to do much of anything. And now seeing Lenny as part of the team, having a role in the team, I thought it was awesome.
Thanks.
No problem.
I felt like every time we saw Lenny, specifically in this episode, she was there for comedic relief. Like 100%. Like they needed time, some breathing room for all the stuff that's going on, all the violent torture, and you got the whole monologue with Melanie, and the editors are like, let's cut to Lenny here. Let's just give us some breathing room a little bit. And another major part of this episode happens to be where Melanie calls David Legion.
Something terrible. Legion. The world killer.
So earlier in the episode, we have a visual representation of Legion in the comic books, and now we get someone who actually name drops Legion for the first time, I think, in the entire series. Awesome moment.
So for those of you who don't know, Legion, the definition is basically like the Roman army. It was comprised of 3,000 to 6,000 troops. It's basically a large military force.
Yeah, a very large number of people. Obviously, this is significant because David has a large number of people, personalities inside of him.
Yes. Okay, now let's talk about Farouk and the Minotaur. So now we have a little clearer idea of what the Minotaur is.
We think.
Sort of.
Yeah. First of all, we thought it was only something inside of Melanie. Maybe it's Melanie's delusion. But then it becomes kind of something in the real world.
Yeah.
After she touches it and caresses it, and then she tells it to go attack the weak. Do you have any idea?
Just Farouk's pet. That's
Farouk's pet.
That's the
His
only thing.
Evil pet that
Yeah.
hunts down people and is now given the ability to walk on ceilings.
Hey, devil with the yellow eyes. You got the horns and the yellow eyes. So again, I like it. It just what is it?
So Carrie and Sid have to take on the Minotaur after the Minotaur just totally kills everyone else down there.
Sure.
Were you so shocked that Sid didn't just switch bodies with the Minotaur? You know, she did it with the cat.
She may. I don't think that's not over yet. She may do it in the next episode, but I think I'm almost certain that that Minotaur is going to have something to do with her arm coming off. And then we find out that tuning fork is actually called the choke, and it's you tap it and it dampens everyone's powers.
So mutants and humans would be on the same level playing field for a few minutes if this was utilized.
Yes.
But Farouk gets rid of it completely.
Tosses it out of the storyline for now. I think it's coming back in the next episode.
I would agree with you.
And then finally, Farouk gets his body. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, I was completely wrong, guys. I apologize for that. I said that the Minotaur was going to be the body that he was looking for, but in fact, he does find his own body. It looks just like him. And there was kind of a Sleeping Beauty type of kiss vibe going on down there.
Yeah, and the sun rises at the end. I love the look.
Beautifully shot. And as the sun is shining on Farouk, we also see a shot of David looking up at him. But let's not get to that yet. We're gonna save that for later.
All right, let's jump into our favorite moments now. Ryan, what do you got?
I love anytime I get to see Carrie kick an ass in any of these action sequences. The slow-mo, that Jane's addiction playing in the background, and her just taking that staff and just disposing of all these guys swinging these high-frequency balls in the air. I thought that whole thing was awesome, and then you see more of them come out of that hole, like they're roaches or spiders. It was a really cool sequence.
It's like a little Kill Bill vibe to
Yeah,
it.
I really enjoy those moments.
My favorite part has to be where Farouk shows up, knocks out Clark and everyone there except the Vermilion because they're not human.
Conflict imminent. Chance of victory, 0%. Retreat.
Yeah, they pieced the out. I would have done the same thing. Like, peace, y'all. You guys handle this. Bye.
All right, time now to talk about some questions we have, some theories, some predictions for the finale. Only one more episode left, guys. So it's become clear that David and Farouk are equally powerful. Maybe David has more powers, but What David doesn't have is this god complex that Farouk has. David does, however, have some sort of insanity going on. So my question to you is, which one is more dangerous? Which one's more of a harmful thing to the world? You know, the the high morals but insane, or the no morals and a god complex?
First of all, it's pick your poison at this point. But at the same time, we gotta look already at the different Davids. Remember, we already got the David that controls the world with Farouk, a part
With
of
all
him.
those, all those ultimate
So we know
realities,
what that reality is. And it doesn't seem that bad compared to what we just saw at the beginning of this episode.
Yes, that was frightening.
Legion. So again, I can see why future Sid's like, no, we got to keep Farouk alive. This isn't going to work out.
Let's go back and rehash what happened to Sid this episode. You had some problems with it.
I thought it was the worst part of the episode, easily.
Yeah.
It's so hard. She's been around David and Farouk for so long. She has to know that Farouk's messing with her.
Right, yeah.
In this cave. She has to. For her to be this gullible at this stage,
Yeah.
it's tough to.
How could she not
believe
know
this.
that that's not Melanie? Or, I mean, she's seen
Even
this...
if it is Melanie,
Right.
she has to know something's up here.
Well, I just thought about this. Like, she did have a conversation with Melanie, remember, back at Division 3. So she knows Melanie is, should I say, a little bit unstable in certain parts of this season. So, again, why listen to her and let her manipulate her feelings with a few out-of-context shots of her boyfriend?
I get it. It pushes the story along. We have to get to the point where David snaps, and she's the only one that's going to make that happen. It's Farouk's plan. It's a good plan to turn her, but just the way it was executed just didn't seem right to me. Also, one last thing.
Let me guess, more Twin Peaks?
Yes, of course. One little thing, it's not big. It's just that the viewing screens they had with Melanie and Sid, that reminded me a lot of a scene in The Return where Andy's looking up at like the best of hits, which is the same thing. They just took clips and used the clips in the screen. So I wonder why Sid's not like, hey, this seems like a TV show. The way there's like, the camera angles and everything. It didn't play out that way, but I like it.
He's the monster now. Maybe he always was.
All right, Greg, time for one of my crazy theories that will probably get shot down in the first 5 minutes of the next episode, but I'm going to try it regardless. I think that everything we're seeing, all the characters that we've been introduced to, are still occurring inside David's mind. Okay. That in fact, this battle that we're watching is going on within him. Remember, Legion from the comics is a whole bunch of personalities that are in one person. He literally absorbs people, personalities, their powers, and he can control, sometimes, each one of them individually and together when he is stable. So I'm convinced that this is all going on in his head for a couple of reasons. One, what Oliver said to him, I am a part of you. Two, the last shot of this episode, when we see Farouk in the sun, almost a very similar location it looks like when we see David's face and he says, boo. I felt like it was all occurring within one body, one mind, and they're just opposing forces within there. So I still think the parasite is still attached to David, and he's literally trying to wrestle with it and defeat it once and for all. And one other note, I really do think that John Hamm's little vignettes, the psychology lessons that we love, can all be applied to David. It's literally just giving us context on what is going through his mind.
Let's talk about time travel here, because that's going to come back in play.
Yeah.
The easy way out of this is everything transpires, David turns evil, and they go back in time again at the very end of this episode.
I hope it doesn't happen like that, though. It's an extremely lazy way to end the season.
Yes, it is.
It wouldn't be a very climactic way. It all happens, he destroys the world, and then he just reverses time back.
I hope it's not the scenario where he's the one who created the orb. That it was his hell. It was him that decided to make this orb, not
Capture
Sid.
himself,
Yeah, he captures himself, and he keeps going back in time trying to fix it. I hope that's not what's going on here, but time travel is going to come in here somehow, some way. I don't know how yet.
Totally agree with you, and something that I do hope happens is Professor X.
Yes.
Do we think it's going to happen in this season finale?
So, this is also setting up a scenario where, again, Legion wins. Yeah. Legion's revealed at the very end, and you got to make that phone call, or you got to do something, get that beeper like Nick Fury did.
Clark has a pager.
He's got that pager, and then all of a sudden it says on there Xavier or the X. I'm not too sure that Xavier is going to show up in the next episode. I don't think that's going to happen now at this point. It would be cool, but I feel like because of the characters this season and how we got such weird character development where we needed to spend time on certain characters in just one entire episode, it seems weird to give these characters this much presence and then just cut it in half, having Xavier show up and clean up the whole entire mess.
I do agree with you. To introduce someone like last minute and then he fixes everything would be a little bit different than what we've seen in this show. Yeah. So I agree. I maybe just a little tease of him.
I can't imagine, again, that they're going to bring in Xavier to fix everything. And then, okay, bye, I'll see you all in the movies again. Oh, these characters didn't do anything to fix this. They're useless to the storyline going forward. They have to fix this problem. It has to be Sid, Ptonomy, the Carries to fix what's going on right now.
And David himself.
Yes.
Fixing himself and fixing, himself from destroying the world.
The only way I see this happening is if Xavier shows up in the astral plane to stop Legion.
Yeah.
And that's it. I can't imagine a scenario where the doors open up and then Xavier's rolling in the wheelchair with Cyclops and everybody like, let's get him.
Let us know if you think Professor X is going to show up in the season finale, or if you have any questions or theories or predictions moving forward.
We'll see you all next week for the season finale, and until then, keep it tuned to GameSpot Universe.
Also, hit that like button.
Hit it. Bye-bye.
She showed me what I could be. She made me good.
I'm a good person. I deserve love.
She's a delusion, the parasite. Stop it. You're terrified you're gonna wake up one day and realize you're a god. You don't need any of them. David, I need you to say it.
Yes. I know what I have to do.